Elisa, my love, are you there? Please tell me that everything is alright. I've been so worried about you ever since you told me that you were going into labor. How are you holding up? Have you reached the hospital safely?
Jacob, my darling, I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear. Don't worry, everything is fine. I'm at the hospital now. My water broke suddenly about a half an hour ago, maybe more. I can't remember exactly. It was all a blur. But the doctor said that the contractions are going to intensify from now on. It looks like our baby is ready to come into the world.
Oh, thank God. I'm so relieved to hear that. You have no idea how much I've been praying for you and our baby. I just want you to know that I've left work as soon as I heard from you. And I'm driving as fast as I can to get to you, okay?
You're already on your way to the hospital? But the contractions are still quite far apart. I don't know how long this is going to take. It could be hours, maybe even days before our baby is born. You don't have to rush. You should have stayed at work a little longer.
No, I don't care about work. All I care about is you and our baby. I want to be with you every step of the way. I want to share this experience with you as much as possible. You know how much this means to me.
Jacob, you're so sweet. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't know how to thank you, but I feel bad that you have to leave work so early. You've been working so hard lately. You must have had a lot of things to do.
It's nothing. I really didn't have much to do today anyway, but we don't have to talk about work right now, okay? The only thing that matters is our baby.
I know. I still can't believe that this is really happening. That we're going to be parents soon. But you're right. We should focus on our baby more than anything else. I have to admit, I'm starting to get really nervous. I just hope that our baby is healthy. That's all I want.
I think everything is going to be okay. Just breathe, my love. I'll be there with you in no time.
I can't wait to see you. You know how long we've dreamed of having a child of our own. How long we've waited for this day. And now, it's finally here. I just hope that our baby is healthy and happy. That we can give our baby the best life possible.
I know exactly what you mean. I wonder if every parent feels the same way before their child is born. But is there something else that's bothering you? Something that made you more nervous than usual?
Well, it's just that I'm not getting any younger. And also, Peyton said some things to me. She said that she had a friend who had a baby at my age and the baby had some problems. Some birth defects. And ever since she told me that, I can't get it out of my mind.
What? Did my sister really say that to you? What was she thinking? How could she say something like that to you? Especially when you're pregnant. She should have known better. She should have kept her mouth shut. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner?
It's okay. I'm sure she didn't mean to hurt me. I'm sure she was just trying to be helpful. To prepare me for the worst. So please don't say anything to her. I don't want to start any trouble. You know, I hate drama.
You're too kind, Elisa. You're too kind for your own good. Do you know that? Do you know how lucky I am to have you in my life? You've been through so much. Your parents kicked you out when you were just a kid. And yet, you're still such a loving and compassionate person. I admire you so much, you know?
Well, it was a very rough time for me. It felt like I had no one to rely on. I don't ever want anyone to feel the way I did.
Well, I think you're amazing. I think you're the strongest person I know. And I'm so glad that I met you. That I fell in love with you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me.
Thank you so much, Jacob. But right now, we really should be focusing on me delivering this baby. I mean, I think I'm still in the early stages of the whole process. So we'll just have to sit tight until the contractions start to get closer together, I suppose.
So then they haven't really changed at all since you got into the hospital?
I suppose not, but they barely started a few minutes ago. I think my cervix is still sealed shut, and it's going to take a lot of effort for the contractions to break through it.
I understand. But at least you can still eat and drink, right? There's no nausea or vomiting that comes with these kinds of contractions, is there?
I'm eating as usual. I haven't felt any signs of discomfort or sickness in my stomach or anywhere else.
That's good to hear. Do you want me to bring you something to eat when I get there?
I don't know if I should be stuffing myself with food right now, to be honest. I would hate to feel bloated or heavy when the contractions really kicked in.
Oh, I see what you mean. But I could still bring you some little things to nibble on while you endure this.
You're right. A bit of food might help. In that case, would you get me that tea that I love and maybe some chocolate and maybe any other kind of small, light things that you can think wouldn't upset my stomach too much right now?
Consider it done. In that case, I'll just make a quick stop at the store and then speed to the hospital to be with you.
Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that, Jacob. We've been dreaming for this for so long and now it's finally going to happen. Just be safe and don't hurry too much coming over here, okay?
Well, if it isn't my dear sister-in-law, I was just curious if you'd made it back home yet.
Yes, I'm back home now. I've actually been home since last week. But it's only been 4 days, so I'm still feeling so weak. And I'm just exhausted all the time.
Yeah, I bet that squeezing a whole child out of your body would probably drain you. Actually, I don't have to bet at all, really.
Oh, by the way, I heard that you came to visit me in the hospital while I was unconscious. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sorry that it's taken me until now to acknowledge it, but I really do appreciate you making the offer to see me.
Of course, it's not a problem at all. Actually, it was my son who kept nagging me about wanting to see the baby. But I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be there when my mom was. I just know she would have something to say to me.
So I guess that you two still haven't really reconciled entirely yet.
We haven't. But can you believe she's really holding on to this resentment just because I had a tiny little affair? She can honestly be such a witch at times. I mean, even my son talks about how he misses his grandma. She doesn't realize that she's just hurting me. She's hurting her grandson, too.
Well, I'm sure if you apologized to your mom and made it clear that you regretted it, she would happily take you back.
Yeah, but I'm not actually even that bothered by what she's doing. If she wants to act that way, that's her choice. Speaking of affairs, I have to say that your baby doesn't look like my brother at all.
Oh, you really think so? I think that she has Jacob's ears and that his mouth is kind of similar shape too.
Yep, I think the baby looks way more like you than she does like Jacob, which really is just a pity. It's a pretty ugly baby is what I'm trying to say here.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure I comprehend what you're trying to say.
Oh, oops. Did I actually just press send on that message? My bad. But don't you think the baby would look so much better if it resembled my brother more? I mean, it's just kind of a waste that the baby has my brother's genes, but none of the good looks that are going to come with that. Instead, she got your plain Jane features.
I think that babies actually change in appearance as they grow up. I'm sure in a few years she's going to start resembling his father in more noticeable ways.
Well, I certainly hope so. For the baby's sake, that is. I mean, I just feel sorry for the fact that you had a little girl, and now she's gonna have to look like, well, you?
Peyton, I'm really not quite sure if you're aware of this, but you're being just a little bit rude to me right now, and I really don't appreciate you saying these kind of things about my newborn baby.
Oh no. Elisa, I'm really sorry that I wasn't doing any of this to try and be mean. I guess I've been sort of stressed. And I have a habit of bad-mouthing people as a way of relieving that.
Right, I see. Just please be more careful with your words in the future.
Of course. Anyway, I bet you must be overwhelmed having to take care of this newborn and keep things around the house tidy, right? Let me know if there is anything that I can do to help out. I was thinking of bringing you some pre-cooked meals in the next couple of days. How does around 2 days from now sound?
Sorry, you want to come over in a couple of days? I just really don't know if I'm up for that physically, and the whole house is still a huge mess.
Well, I can do some cleaning for you then. I want to help.
I understand that, but you don't have work that you'll have to be at anyways.
Work? No, I don't have any work. I don't even have a job.
Wait, what? You mean that you haven't been working at all since you and your husband split up?
Yep, that's right. I've been out of work ever since I took custody over my son. But that doesn't stop my ex-husband from still trying to interfere with my life.
But then how do you survive? Where does your money come from? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I still get child support payments. And I'll usually just fabricate some reason for why I need more money some months, and I usually get my way. Basically, even though we're divorced, I still get to live off my ex-husband.
I see, and that's something that you want to keep doing?
Yep, you bet it is. Anyway, my little boy won't stop talking about how he wants to see the baby again. So that's another reason why I want to come over soon. By the way, did you and Jacob decide on a name for her?
Yeah, we're going to call her Violet, actually.
Violet. Oh, that's such a beautiful name. Thank goodness you didn't go with something absurd, like some comic book character or something like that.
Well, Jacob and I agreed that we wanted to put a lot of thought into what her name would be. So we spent a long time deciding, and when we talked about Violet, it was like something clicked inside of us.
Well, I'm glad that you two had such an easy time coming up with a name. Because have you heard of some of the insane names that people come up with for their kids? I hear the names of some of the kids at my son's school, and I just have to ask myself, what on earth were they thinking?
Oh, really? Are there some pretty weird ones there?
Yeah. I'll tell you all about it when I see you in a couple days. Okay? You could just get some snacks and juice for Ike. That would be awesome.
Wait, no! Sorry, Peyton. I thought I said that I wouldn't be able to see you. Then we might just have to reschedule until I'm feeling better.
No, sorry. I think you misunderstood. I said that I was going to go over to help you, okay? Don't worry. I have plenty of experience being a mom. You'll be in good hands. Just leave it all to me.
Peyton, do you have any clue what kind of damage you've caused? What is wrong with you? I'm seriously at a loss for words right now. You had no right to come here, and you showed up to our house anyway. And then you just proceeded to really mess things up.
What are you talking about? All I did was go to visit my sister-in-law. Is that really such a terrible thing?
Elisa told you that she didn't want to see you and that she would let you know when she was feeling better. But then you decided to show up unannounced and then demanded that Elisa take Ike to the bathroom right away.
Well, what else was I supposed to do? Ike said that he really had to go, and I didn't want him to wet himself.
But you continued to stay at the house even after he had finished using the bathroom. Why didn't you leave after that?
Well, it was just so hot outside that I thought we might want to stay for a little while and cool off. Why are you being like this, Jacob? I don't get it. Did you want my son to suffer from heat stroke or something?
I'm not really concerned about your son, to be perfectly honest. The only thing I'm concerned about is Elisa and Violet.
You're being such a huge jerk to me right now. Do you even realize that?
And you're acting like I don't have a good reason to be furious with you. Your son ran out of the bathroom with dirty toilet water all over his hands and got it all over Elisa and the baby. You should have been keeping a better eye on your kid and stopping him from doing all that. Elisa told me that there was a huge mess to clean up with dirty water all over the floor. Do you think that's a healthy environment for a newborn to be raised in?
Wait a second. I don't get what you're trying to say. I mean, I wasn't the one who made the mess. It was my son.
Are you kidding me? Do you really not take responsibility as a parent as well? Ike literally crept up behind Elisa and dumped the dirty water all over her head.
Well, then that's her fault for not paying better attention to her surroundings.
Except for the fact that Ike did it with a bucket. Where did he even get a bucket in the first place, huh? I think that you told him to dump the dirty water on Elisa.
You really do have a wild imagination. Do you know that, bro? But I think you just need to calm down. I mean, all it was a harmless prank. It's not like a little water ever hurt anyone.
We're talking about soiled water straight from the toilet bowl.
Well, you really should have seen Eliza's face when it happened. I mean, she's never been much to look at anyway, but covered in all that filth, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry out of pity.
I don't even know how to respond to any of that.
What do you mean? It's not like I did anything wrong. It was just a little prank is all. It's no big deal.
You do realize that Elisa was the last friend you had, right? Your other friends and even our parents got sick of you acting without any consideration for others. And Elisa was the only one patient enough to tolerate you.
So what? You think that makes her better than me or something? You can't just talk down to me like this. You think it's fair that my life blows up just because I got caught having an affair? That's not fair at all.
You really are such a selfish person. I don't even know why I bother talking to you sometimes. So you really don't care at all what you've done to this last person who was willing to talk to you, huh?
I already told you that none of this is my fault. My son went a little crazy and your wife just wasn't paying any attention. That's it. If anything, you should be mad at your wife. She got so mad at me that it made the baby cry. Have you talked to her about that?
I think that Elisa has every right to be furious with you. And I'm sure the baby was already sobbing when it had water poured on it. How can you not even acknowledge a little bit of fault over this?
Okay, fine. I guess I'm the most horrible person in the world for doing this. Is that what you're trying to imply? It's not like I committed murder.
You really are a piece of work. You know that?
Maybe you should be concentrating more on your wife and kid, and less on being angry at me. You know how dirty that water probably was? You better make sure that nothing bad happens to the two of them. That would be just terrible. Elisa, are you there? Please, you have to help me. I'm begging you. My mom showed up at my house unannounced and just snatched Ike away from me. She told me that my ex-husband had been granted custody and that she was going to take Ike to his dad. Please, you have to do something to help me. I'm sure they're all at my parents' place. You have to take me there.
That is not going to happen, Peyton.
Don't tell me that you're still mad about the little water fight we had. It was just my son playing with some water. It's really not that bad.
I'm sure that you and Jacob already talked about this. But you knew that was like going to do that to me, didn't you?
I didn't know anything. You all need to quit blaming me and take some responsibility for yourselves.
I don't believe a single word that you're saying to me at all. I know that being a single mother must be difficult, but it was clear just from the way you behave in my house that you were doing nothing to raise Ike properly.
What are you talking about? What did you do?
Well, I told your mom about the toilet water incident, and that both Jacob and I are sure you had something to do with it. I mean, Ike never used to act like this at all until maybe about 6 months ago. Then it was like a switch was flipped and he started to act out.
Well, that's just because it's summer now, and he gets really crazy when it gets hot. That's it, I swear.
You know, after you told me that you would quit your job, I passed that news along to your mom, and she hired a private investigator to watch you.
Wait a second. Are you telling me that this is all your fault? You're the reason why my son was taken away from me? I thought I could trust you. I thought we were friends.
I thought that I could trust you two, but clearly I was wrong about that. But I just couldn't sit by and watch as you manipulated your son into acting out and getting up all kinds of mischief. Do you even use a single cent of child support money to get on your son? Because we called your ex about this, and he was shocked at what was happening with his son.
Wait a second. You called Paul and told him about what was going on?
That's right. So he knows about all of this as well?
How dare you? You had no right to do something like that. I'm sorry about the water, but you are taking things way too far now. He'll have the completely wrong idea about me.
Well, it's too late for me to do anything about it now. And Paul also saw the reports that the PI compiled about you.
Please, you don't understand. Being a single mother is really hard. I just needed a break. Some me time. You can understand that, right?
I think it's been more than just a little break. The PI even went to go ask about Ike at his school. And the teachers reported that he was always showing up in dirty clothes and smelled bad. You weren't even bathing him.
Please, you have to try to understand. It's really, really hard for me. You just don't get it.
I'm not the one you should be apologizing to. You need to apologize to Paul and Ike for all that you've put them through.
But why do I have to lose my son over this? It doesn't make any sense at all. Please, you can't do this to me.
If you couldn't handle raising him on your own in the first place, then you shouldn't have pursued custody over Ike. You should have just let Paul have him. He's clearly more capable of raising Ike than you ever were.
No, don't do this to me. Don't take my son away from me, please. I thought that I could trust you. Elisa, you wouldn't want your child taken away from you, would you? You just have to imagine that to even begin to understand what you're putting me through.
I promise you that I do not take any joy in what is happening at all. But I think that you just want to keep Ike so that you don't lose the child support money. But you're getting $2,500 from Paul every single month, and instead of spending it on Ike, you use it all for yourself. On top of that, you refuse to get a job precisely because you're getting this money.
Okay, you're right. I understand. Go and get a job. And I promise to raise Ike right. Just please talk to my mom and tell her that she can't do this. I need you to do that for me. I promise that I'll never ever let Ike run crazy. And I'll teach him manners. And I won't even make him pull any nasty pranks ever again. You're the only one that I have left.
You're almost right. I was the only one that you had left. I tried too hard to be nice and kind and understanding. And you spit it all back in my face. I'm sorry, but I just don't want anything to do with you ever again.
Please, don't do this to me. I'm really, really sorry. I swear it. I was so jealous of how happy you seemed. Why did you get to be married and have a kid while I have to be a single mother? But I'll apologize for everything. I swear I never meant for things to go like this.
I'm sorry, but now that I'm a mother, I understand that a child has to come first. And Ike is clearly in the wrong place with you.
But I won't have anyone left if you don't talk to me. Please, I'll be all alone. I need you to help me, Elisa. You don't really want to do this.
You're right. I don't want to do this. But part of being a parent is knowing the difference between what you want to do and what you need to do. And you clearly haven't learned that lesson. After that, Peyton tried calling me and her mom repeatedly, pleading for us to return Ike. The one thing she never did was actually come over to the house and try to get him back. Meanwhile, we waited at the house for a social worker to come by and explain to us and Ike what would happen next. It was decided that Ike would go to live with his father. The social worker also told us that this would mean that Paul could stop paying Peyton child support. Meanwhile, Peyton packed up her bags and vanished overnight. There was no note or trace of her, just some of her clothes and a suitcase missing. We never ever heard from her again. Ike went to go and live with his father, and although I heard it was a rough start, the two of them seemed to be getting along very well. Now, we go over to visit Paul and Ike every once in a while, and the last time we went, Ike even apologized for the water incident. He admitted that his mom had told him to do it, and said that she thought I would have found it really funny. He had no idea what he was doing. It made me happy to see that Ike was returning to his polite self under the care of his dad.